Did you know that your HOA could take away your home over a few $100s of unpaid fees?
You can be up to date on your mortgage, have never missed a loan payment, and still lose your home to foreclosure by your HOA.
75 million. That is the number of Americans that live in an HOA. That's 30% of all U.S. homes. And the number is growing daily with more and more new construction communities opting to form homeowners associations. And HOAs can be a great thing. They can provide amenities that you wouldn't normally be able to afford, like swimming pools and clubhouses. But there is a dark side to HOAs as well. And some have the power to evict you from your home.
Stationed overseas finds out he's being evicted from his house for failing to pay his homeowners association fee.
So in this video, I'm going to dive into the dark side of the HOAs and why some have the power to attach liens and even foreclose for unpaid fees, some as little as $1,200. I'm also going to tell you how the process works and then tell you how you can protect yourself if you start receiving letters in the mail from your HOA. Now stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you a few states that are actually stepping up to change their laws to limit the power these HOAs have. Now an HOA, or a homeowners association, is defined as an organization in a subdivision or planned community or a condominium building that makes and enforces rules for the properties and residents. And ultimately the purpose of the HOA is to preserve the overall value of the homes in the HOA. The rules are there to protect each of the individual residents along with providing extra amenities. Now every HOA is going to be a little different. Some offer amenities like swimming pools and clubhouses. Others offer exterior maintenance and lawn maintenance. And some just want to preserve the overall look of the community by maintaining and landscaping the common areas and the upkeep on the roads. Now the important thing to know is when you buy a home in an HOA, you're agreeing to abide by the CC&Rs, or the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. These are legally binding documents that tell you what you can and can't do on your property. And those documents also tell you if the HOA can place liens on your property and what their process is for foreclosure. So it is super important that you read every page of the CC&R to make sure that you understand what you're getting into when you purchase your property or whether there's a new HOA being formed for your community. Now, the more research I did and the more I looked into HOAs foreclosing on properties, I was astounded. I couldn't believe that this was actually happening, that HOAs have the power to do this in the first place. But the first question we need to answer is what triggers an HOA to foreclose? HOAs can place a lien on your property and even garnish your wages for any outstanding monthly fees or outstanding fines that are due. And those numbers add up very quickly, especially if there's accumulated interest. And because HOAs are largely unregulated, the amount due can actually be a pretty small amount before they start the process of leveraging a lien on your property.
In 2010, Quigley, upset with her HOA's billing process, decided to take a stand and refuse to pay her dues, about $700 that year. But that only led to letters from Lozeka and Johansson, the law firm hired to collect on the debt. And that debt had grown.
An HOA lien is a legal claim against your property as security for unpaid debt. It is the same as if you were hiring a roofer and you didn't pay the roofer and the roofer attached a mechanic's lien to your property until that bill is paid. Now, the homeowner does need to be notified when the HOA does attach the lien to the property, and this process differs in every state. And in some states, the HOA lien takes priority over the mortgage lien, which means if the property were to be foreclosed, the HOA lien would be paid first, and then whatever's left over would satisfy the mortgage, which absolutely blows my mind that the mortgage would take second seat to the power of these HOAs. Now, the homeowner can pay the balance on whatever's due on the lien and have that lien removed from their property. But if they don't, the HOA can proceed with foreclosure. And some HOAs are not even giving notice to the homeowners that this is happening.
The service member says he set up automatic payments to the Wolf Creek Homeowners Association while he was serving abroad. But something went wrong and the payments stopped being received, and he says he wasn't notified until after they foreclosed on his house.
In 2022, homeowner Master Sergeant Christopher Banda was serving overseas in the Air Force on a 15-month tour. Before he left, he arranged with the HOA to have automatic payments set up so that his HOA fees would be paid in a timely fashion. But something happened and the payments stopped. And when he got back from his tour, he discovered that his house had been foreclosed on over a $2,500 outstanding bill for late fees. The HOA never gave him notice. They knew he was overseas, and they proceeded with the foreclosure anyways. And in the same year, a homeowner in North Carolina was foreclosed. She didn't even know she was living in an HOA. She was in a community where some homes were part of the HOA, some were not. Unbeknownst to her, she had a $1,400 outstanding balance on a home that didn't have a mortgage. The house was paid off and mortgage free. She said she received some letters, but it looked like junk mail, so she threw it away. She never received any certified letters, and the court documents that were delivered to her were never signed. Her home was valued at approximately $413,000, mortgage free, and it was auctioned off for $221,000. And the scary part is that her story is not unique. There are hundreds of stories just like hers and Master Sergeant Christopher Banda's. Now, selling a home or buying a home in an HOA does require a few more steps, and it does help to work with a real estate agent that actually is familiar with those particular HOAs. Now, I've been in real estate since 1996, and I have come across a lot of agents. And over the years, I have put together a database of the best agents in the country. So if you are interviewing agents to help you sell a home or buy a home, I'm happy to connect you with one of those agents. Simply click the link in the description below. There'll be a short form. Once I receive that form, I will send you an email. Make sure to check your spam folder. There'll be a link to my calendar. We'll schedule a quick call. We'll have a conversation so I can understand what is important to you in an agent. And then I will get you in touch with one of those top agents that will take great care of you. So now you know what could happen when the HOA forecloses. How do you protect yourself from an HOA foreclosure? Well, there are several things that you can do proactively to make sure that this never, ever happens to you. The first thing you want to do is to make sure that the property is in an HOA. Not all properties are in HOAs. Some properties are in HOAs, and some people don't even know. So you want to check to see if there's anything on the deed that indicates that it's an HOA, and you also want to check around the surrounding properties. Now, this is something that you can lean into your agent for, to have them do some homework on previously sold properties, but you want to do a little bit of digging to make sure that you're not buying into a property that has a secret HOA. Once you've established that they have an HOA, the next thing you want to do is you want to get a copy of the CC&Rs. You want to review every page of those governing documents to make sure that you understand exactly what you're buying into. What are the fees? What are the fines? What's their lien process? And what's their foreclosure process? Super important. And then you want to get the last 2 years of the operating budget. And you want to see how much do they have in reserves so you know how much cash they have on hand for any unexpected expenses. And then you want to look at how much money they've collected in fees. If that fees amount looks unusually high for how many homeowners are in that association, that might be a red flag. Now, the next thing you want to do is when you're buying the house, make sure that all the HOA fees are up to date. And you can do this by reaching out to the title company that you're working with or your closing attorney, depending on the state that you live in, and have them check to see if there are any liens recorded. They will also check with the homeowners association. You can talk to the selling agent to see if they have asked for a condo certificate or some sort of certification. Some states have this. Massachusetts does this. It's called a 6D certificate that basically certifies that the condo fees are up to date. There's no past due fees at this time, at the time of the closing. So you want to make sure that all the fees are updated and that you're not inheriting someone else's debt from previous liens. Now, once you own the home, if you don't receive a welcome package or a letter welcoming you to the HOA, be proactive. You want to reach out to that HOA. You want to find out specifically how they want the monthly fee or the yearly fee, where to send it to, and how do you get confirmation that the fee has been received. Now, the other thing you can do is attend the HOA meetings. Now, some HOAs meet monthly, some bi-monthly, some only twice a year, but you want to attend those meetings. It doesn't mean you have to volunteer for the board or give a ton of your time, but just being in the room during those meetings allows you to know exactly what's happening with that HOA. Are they going to be raising fees? Is someone being charged an excessive amount of fees? Are they planning on spending money on something that maybe you don't approve of? Knowing exactly what's going on in your HOA is critical to living in an HOA. The other thing that I would be careful of is automatic withdrawal. Now, automatic withdrawal for bill pay is super common and super easy, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but you absolutely need to be proactive to make sure you have confirmation on payments. You need to monitor that payment monthly. Even if it's automatic, it's easy to take a step back and just set it and forget it. That can get you into trouble. So if you do set up automatic payments, you want to make sure that you still check to make sure that payment is received, and ideally get a confirmation back from the HOA that they did receive the payment on a monthly basis. Now, if you do receive a fines letter or a past due notice letter that you're not quite sure, you don't agree with, you're going to want to talk to an attorney as soon as possible. Know what the rules are in your state. Know exactly what will trigger an HOA lien or an HOA foreclosure for your state, for your HOA, but you want to be proactive and you want to get ahead of it. Those letters will add up quickly, the fines add up quickly, and interest adds up very, very quickly. So you want to react, reach out to your HOA, reach out to an attorney if necessary, but you want to get that ball rolling as soon as you receive those notices. Now, the good news is that some states are stepping up and they're passing laws to limit the power that these HOAs have. Florida, Georgia, Texas, and North Carolina are just a few of the states that are passing laws that advocate for the homeowner, setting a minimum amount for overdue fees, banning contractors from a homeowner's property, fining residents for leaving trash cans out within 24 hours of a pickup, fining residents for leaving holiday decorations up past the homeowner's rules for the inside of a structure that isn't visible from the street, and banning vegetable gardens or clotheslines if they can't be seen from a street or neighbor's property. Now, not all HOAs are bad and have nefarious intentions. There are a lot of good HOAs that add a ton of value to the people that live in that community. But if you're in a situation where you think your HOA is taking advantage of you, please contact an attorney, be proactive. The key is to reach out as soon as possible. Don't let it get too far so that you can get ahead of the issue and solve the situation before it goes to foreclosure. Now, if you want to know more about insurance companies that are canceling homeowners policies, you're going to want to check out this video. I'm Jen Sylvester, and I'm here to help you be a savvy home seller.